You're listening to Permission To, the podcast where we dive into the science and soul of owning your worthiness as a perfectly imperfect human being. I'm your host, Sam Dew, psychotherapist, positive psychology coach, mama to a beautiful 5-year-old Amelie, and passionate advocate for living an inspired life. My aim is to show you that you have full permission to own your worthiness so that you can embrace your true nature and begin walking boldly toward your dreams. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome to another episode of Permission To. This is part 2 of Permission to Change Your Mind. So last week we dove into all things mindset and why coaches talk about mindset so much, why mindset's so important. And today we're going to look at really how you can change your stories and how you can change your mind. Because I do find that whilst mindset work can be in some ways quite simple, in other ways, because of the relationship that we have to ourselves, changing our stories can be quite complex because we can often be quite attached to them. So let's dive in. So firstly, I wanted to share a few really simple and really powerful questions that I will often ask myself and my clients to help work on mindset. And we actually use this in Permission Granted. We have a weekly mindset tool that we use because I think one thing that I want to say about mindset work is that it's not like a set and forget work. I don't find that you just work on mindset once and then you go, right, I've worked on my mindset, that story's gone forever, I don't need to work on it again. What I know to be true from my life experience and from also working with my clients is that often the stories that are challenging us, that are unhelpful, we will work through them, but then they may reemerge at a different level, at a different time, in a different way, but we still need to keep working on them. So that's why it's really important that this is ongoing work, and I really encourage setting up some kind of weekly mindset practice where you maybe take yourself out for a coffee date or do some journaling at home and kind of have a few set questions that you ask yourself. So some of the questions that I really encourage my clients to work through is firstly starting off with what is their biggest priority or their intention for the week. So or their goal, what do they really, really want? And getting really honest with yourself about that. Because often we won't even let ourselves declare what we really want because our mindset gets in the way of that first. And then what I like to do is look at, what stories and thoughts are coming up that are telling me that I can't solve this problem, or I can't have what I really want, or I won't reach this goal this week. And so there are the what we call unhelpful stories or limiting beliefs that are getting in the way of you taking the action for the week. And hopefully if you kind of listen to last week's episode, you will have kind of gone away and looked at a problem or a challenge that you're kind of stuck with and looked at what are the stories that you're telling yourself and how do you feel and what actions you're not taking or taking because of those stories. So this is the next step. Once you know what stories are getting in the way, what you want to do is see if you can totally flip those stories on their head. So sometimes I like to ask myself, what if these stories are not true? Because, so much of the stuff that we tell ourselves is completely untrue. Or how can I rewrite these in a way that is supportive and powerful and aligned with my goals? I also like to write down, what thoughts and beliefs and stories will support me this week? How do I want to feel this week? And what can I do to create that feeling? What stories will enable me to feel that way? So this is one of my most powerful mindset hacks, is to really focus on how I want to feel for the week and what action I want to take, and then write the story for the week. So for example, when I'm launching, if I'm launching and I'm feeling a bit nervous or maybe my energy's a bit low, then and I know that I want to feel excited and confident, then I might write, I I am confident and I am powerful when I launch, or, I launch with ease and joy, and launching is just becoming easier and more fun every time I launch. And so I'll actually choose those stories that actually will help me feel how I want to feel. And then that affects how I show up in my launches as well. So that's a good way to do it, actually reverse engineer how you want to feel. And I started to do this practice when I purchased Danielle Laporte's diary, which unfortunately she doesn't make anymore. But one of the tools that she kind of has in her diary is to actually work out how you want to feel, and then work out what mindset and what stories would support you in feeling that way. So it's reverse engineering your mindset. Instead of letting your mindset control you, you're choosing the stories, and you're choosing the mindset that you're going to focus on. Some other questions that are really helpful to flip your mindset is what if the opposite was true? So if you're telling yourself, I'm not good enough to do this, what if the opposite was true? What if you're actually good enough? Or what if you're amazing at that? So really play around with it. And sometimes if there's a lot of resistance to changing or rewriting a story, then you might just want to make it what if I could make this story just a little bit better? So imagine you've got a story that I suck at maths, I 100% am not good at maths, and then let's say you want to study psychology and you have to do a fair bit of maths in that, and so you go, so I'm never going to be able to study psychology and become a psychologist. So maybe that's the story you've got. Is there a way that you can rewrite that? Your brain might not believe it if you go from I'm 100% bad at maths to I'm amazing at maths. Your brain might find a lot of resistance to that. But is there a way that you could make that story just a little bit better, a little bit kinder, a little bit more helpful? So it might be something you know what, I do find maths challenging, but I know in other areas of my life, when I work hard at something, I can improve. And so you're taking on that growth mindset. So I'm just throwing out random examples too. So hopefully you can relate to these, but you can also use them in other areas of your life as well. And you'll have your own examples. But yeah, if there's a story that feels really stark or really rigid and you don't feel like you can make the opposite true, then how can you make it a little bit better, a little bit kinder, a little bit more helpful? And that's that whole idea of the growth mindset too, actually recognizing that, okay, I'm not good at maths yet. Even just putting that last little sentence at the end is really, really helpful. And so once you've rewritten those stories, I think that's where a lot of people just finish up. They're like, all right, I've done the mindset work. But actually what I know to be true, and this is from working with people for the last 15 years from all walks of life, but the last 5 years really specializing in women in business and mums in business and people that are desiring to expand into creating their businesses. What I know to be true is that just rewriting your stories and changing them isn't enough. You then need to take action every day to show your brain that you believe this story. So, for example, if you take that maths example, if you were telling yourself, you know what, I know you find maths hard, but when you work at things you do get better, then one way that you might work on that story is to actually do maths every day. If you really want to go and study psychology and maths is the one thing that's getting in the way, then you might go and hire a maths tutor and work on your maths every day. You might write the affirmation, every day I find maths easier and easier, and put it at the top of your computer screen or somewhere where you can look at it. So because remember what we touched on in part 1 of this episode was that our brain likes to take the easiest, most well-trodden path when we're going for a walk. And so if you've been telling yourself that you're really bad at maths for 20 years, then it's not just going to change overnight when you change that story. You have to actually take the action, embody it, to work on it. And it's the same with I support a lot of women with worthiness stories. So there's a lot of I'm not good enough to, launch that course, or who am I to desire to write a book without wanting to make any money from it? Who am I to want to just do something for fun or for my own creativity? And if you're going to change those stories to, you know what, it is my birthright to experience joy and to prioritize my creativity, or I am worthy. I was worthy like the moment that I was born, and I'm always going to be worthy. Whatever you choose to rewrite it to, then what you need to think about is like, well, if I believe that that was true, what action would I be taking? Like, would I be hiding and not showing up, or would I be showing up? Would I be treating myself to, lunch on a Friday, or finishing work early, or prioritizing like Saturday mornings to write my book, even though it's not going to make me money straight away? So what action would tell your brain that you are really serious about this new story? And then you need to repeat that like over and over and over again. Like so many of us, including me sometimes, like we tell ourselves that we're going to do something and then we try it like 3 times and we just give up. It's like you have to try it like 100 times before you know whether it's actually going to work. Your brain needs to know that you're serious about this change. So mindset work doesn't just include changing your stories, it's then also taking the action. And that's where this idea of follow the plan, not the mood, which a lot of my clients really love, is super powerful as well. It's like, okay, I've decided that I am good enough to write this book. And so I'm going to schedule in every Saturday morning that I have a 3-hour writing session, or every morning I have 20 minutes of writing. And then you're going to go and allow yourself that time, prioritize it, even when those stories come up that tell you, no, this is a waste of time. You don't deserve to be writing because you should be focusing on, doing something sensible, or who are you to write a book, whatever those stories are. When you take action, you're actually challenging those stories through your action as well. So don't forget about the action part of mindset work. They're not separate. They are combined. Our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions are all intertwined like a big system. And so if you want to change how you feel about something, you need to change the stories, but you also need to take the action to really embed those new stories into your system. And you know what's really exciting about that? When you take action, you get new results, you get better results, you get different results, and then those results confirm the new stories. So it's a really, really powerful thing to do. And I really, really encourage you to focus on the action part of mindset work as well. So that is it for part 2. Nice and short and sweet again. I would love to hear if you feel like, if you've listened and like something's come up for you, or like there's some kind of mindset challenge that you're working on, or you've just got some feedback. I would love to hear from you and hear what you got out of this episode. I'd also be so grateful if you left a review and if you shared it with your family and friends. And I'm just letting you know one final time that I have got one more coaching spot available at the moment. So if you would like to work with me around mindset, around worthiness, around taking action instead of procrastinating, then please reach out, and I'm really, really happy to have a chat with you and let you know about my different coaching packages. And until next episode, you have a beautiful week.